This weekend marks 30 years since the Iraqi army under Saddam Hussein invaded neighbouring Kuwait and changed the course of history. Our World Affairs editor, John Simpson, has reported on the two Gulf Wars and upheaval across the Middle East and the rest of the world that followed, and in this special report reflects on the reverberations still being felt today.
The day he invaded Kuwait, Saddam Hussein helped to shape our modern world. He was a ruthless dictator. He used savage methods against his own people, including gassing 5,000 Iraqi Kurds at Halabja.
The bodies which litter this town were those of people who ran out of their houses to try to escape the gas.
By 1990, Iraq was bankrupt. Saddam appealed to neighbouring Kuwait for financial help, but they turned him down insultingly. In a fury, he ordered his generals to invade. With full UN support, President George Bush Sr. put together a coalition of countries to liberate Kuwait.
Iraq will not be permitted to annex Kuwait. And that's not a threat, it's not a boast, it's just the way it's going to be.
The coalition took only 100 hours to destroy the Iraqi forces in Kuwait.
At the moment, we're waiting for the American bombers to come. All the firing that's going on, and there's a great deal of it, is just pretty wildly up in the air.
But they stopped short of invading Iraq itself.
Kuwait is once more in the hands of Kuwaitis.
The elder President Bush was a very wise man and very well versed in international matters, and he would have realized that if he had gone to Baghdad, that would have been the easy part. It was what you then do when you've got rid of a government and created a political vacuum.
Slowly and with immense brutality, Saddam Hussein re-established his power in Iraq.
Well, this looks like it is some sort of a concerted.
In 2001, Osama bin Laden ordered the 9/11 attacks. Saddam Hussein wasn't involved, but the new President Bush gave the impression he had been. America went after Saddam as well as bin Laden. Britain backed America. Saddam was quickly overthrown, but there were no weapons of mass destruction.
The evidence about Saddam having actual biological and chemical weapons, as opposed to the capability to develop them, has turned out to be wrong.
I'm not looking for justification. We thought he was dangerous to the United States. That was the reason for doing it. The fact that some of the assumptions it was based on turned out to be not so great, you rely on the best intelligence you have.
Saddam was captured, put on trial, and later executed. In the civil war which followed, hundreds of thousands of Iraqis died. The country was devastated.
Saddam Hussein's invasion of Kuwait unleashed a series of domino effect events that the world is still dealing with until today, such as the rise of Al-Qaeda and, of course, following that, the rise of ISIS and continued devastation in Iraq and the Middle East as a whole.
So 30 years later, the effects are still with us. America is no longer the dominant power it once was. And in Britain, the weapons of mass destruction fiasco has created widespread cynicism about politics. Saddam haunts us to this day. John Simpson, BBC News.